Hey guys, Michael the Comic Nerd here, and welcome to another episode of Mike's Indie Corner. On today's episode, we are taking a look at Blues and Bullets, Episode 1.
What's going on, Elliot?
Get me out of here, please.
What's that gun doing there? Don't lie to me, Elliot. Especially not now. He's back.
I'm not a cop anymore. I'm going to need help.
Blues and bullets.
Alright, so for those who don't know what Blues and Bullets is an adventure game set in a noir setting that centers around Elliot Ness, who is a detective that was the one that took down Al Capone. You may recognize it from the movie Untouchables. He is the star of this game, he is who you play, and he also has huge mystery elements along in the game. Right there, I've said 3 things that captured my attention and why I have been looking for this game, actually for quite a while. Adventure game. I'm a complete sucker for adventure games. Noir. Complete sucker for that setting. Mystery games. Love mystery games. We don't get enough of them. So right away, as soon as I heard about this game, I was like, okay, I'm checking this one out. And now it's out, and I really liked it. There might be some personal bias here a little bit, because again, I am a sucker for mystery games. I love games that keep me guessing, or at least have me feel like I'm investigating something important. For some reason, I always just love that. I always love trying to figure out a good mystery. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. There are a lot of problems, and I feel like it doesn't really find its place until after a lot of the setup is done. Because the story is it's 20 years after you've captured Al Capone, and then, I'm not really giving too much away. They say about as much in the trailer. Al Capone calls you and hires you to find his missing daughter. And the rest of the game is about you trying to track down where she is and this big, huge conspiracy behind it. This game is obviously inspired by games similar to it. There's a lot of LA Noir, obviously. There's some Sin City in there. There's even, I would say, Indigo Prophecy in there a little bit as well with the cult stuff. Although cult stuff in mystery games is not exactly a new concept, to be fair. But let's go over what this game does really well first, because I feel like in the past reviews I've done, I just really shit on the game, so I really want to talk about things I like about a game for a change, and show you, why, yeah, I do think this is a game you should check out. So what's good is, the graphics aren't great in this particular game. I will give them credit. For an indie game, the graphics are pretty good, and especially for the price you're getting. This episode's on $5, and you are getting some pretty good graphics for that price. The voice acting is kind of hit and miss. Some works better than others, and I feel like the emotional beats, the big dramatic moments, do work for the most part. Elliot Ness has this very kind of gruff, but I would argue kind of tender voice to it, and it works for the character, and allows you to play in several different ways, any way you want. I do love, what the fuck is his name? Elliot Ness gets a partner in this game, kind of. He's a partner that works for the mafia, basically. And his name is it's Mash or Nash or something like that. I feel bad for not remembering his name, because he's my favorite character. But I really liked him. He was pretty good. Al Capone, I don't know, he did okay. He did okay with what he was given him. I feel like they could have found someone better for Al Capone. But again, it's a game on an indie budget. I can't be too harsh on the voice acting. But the one thing that did bug me about the way it looks and the way the voice acting is that the way the character models move is very, sometimes it's simple, it's tame, and it's to the point. Other times it's wildly erratic, and sometimes their characters just flail their arms, for no reason. It looks like they're trying to take flight, and it's really distracting. It's dude, calm down, you don't have to move your arms that much. Even the lip syncing is not great either. It's better than, I would say, Life is Strange. Life is Strange has way worse lip syncing. But other than that, those are really my biggest complaints about the game. I do really like the style, because it is almost like it's a Schindler List-esque style mixed in with some Sin City, because there are some times where there are some shooting segments. It plays a lot more like a railgun shooter, and they're far from the best parts of the game, in my opinion. The best parts of the game are when it's focused on the mystery portion, which happens towards the end of the episode. And that was my favorite part. That's when I felt like the game really hit its own stride. That's when the game became really interesting. I got really invested into it. The shooting stuff is fine, but it's not the main draw. And the style is fine, but again, it's not the main draw. It's the being the detective, it's solving this mystery, and I'm hoping that's what they focus more on in future episodes, is less on style and more on being this detective, uncovering this mystery, and letting the story speak for itself. The style is nice, and there are times when it really pays off, and you get some cool visual nods, or some... It takes some historical liberties. I think it's fair to say you'll be able to spot when it happens pretty fucking fast. But even then, like, the environments look pretty cool. I wouldn't say there's really any puzzle elements. Like I said, a lot of the puzzle elements, the best part of the game is the mystery portion at the end, because without giving away what exactly happens or what exactly you're looking into, there's this mystery you have to uncover towards the end of the episode, and you're given this clipboard. This clipboard has like different things that you say you need to look into, like almost like those little bullet boards you see like in all the detective and noir movies, and even like modern day, like a Daredevil had this too. I think with that, like Ben Urich's board had all the cards on there that represent different mob people. But this one has that too, where you're trying to like figure out like, okay, what, like, find clues to figure out this, like, how he died, and you fill in the blanks of the clues you found looking around, and then that expands to other layers of investigation. You gotta go check those out, and those expand until you, like, figure out the whole story at the very end of the investigation. It's pretty cool, it's satisfying, it's, unfortunately the way the game is set up, it is, like, every time there's something to interact with, you see a big giant red eye, so there are times that it feels less like, finding the clues yourself, and more of just trying to wander around until you eventually find a red dot. But still, I think it works well enough to say, okay, that was fun. I feel satisfied that I could figure that out. And it's kind of fun because you still get to figure out what clues fall into what. So I really like this system. Again, I feel like that's where it shines the most. And that's where, I feel like the game comes into its own, is in those mystery portions. Those are easily the best parts of it. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. I don't want to be redundant, but those are easily my favorite parts. And that's what caught my attention, and it's why I'll go back for more episodes in the future. Is because, like, I love shit like that. I always have. Like, even when I was a kid, I used to play a crap load of those. I don't want to say shitty, but just kind of mediocre Nancy Drew games that came back in the day. I used to love those games. Granted, I haven't played them in years. So I don't know if they're still good or if they're not. I don't know, but back then, I just always loved mysteries, and I always loved being able to piece together. I remember using to take notes in mystery games, like try to piece together like myself. So I loved her story, is because it allowed me to try to piece together the evidence myself. And this game doesn't quite give you too much freedom, but it gives you enough freedom that you feel like you're accomplishing something. So that's good. Overall, like, this conspiracy is interesting. I feel like there are a couple elements, especially like in the mid, like, I guess kind of in the middle and at the very end, where I feel like the environments get a little too fantastical. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like for a story like this, it's stuff like this is always better when it's more grounded, when it's more in reality. I feel like that's when you kind of like, get into more of the noir elements and more into the detective portions. That's not to say that you can't do those kind of things, but I felt like the game is better when you can feel more grounded, you feel like you're more in the real world rather than, oh, here's this fantastical, like, non-existent hotel or non-existent, I can't say because it'll give away spoilers. Yeah, other than that though, I really liked it. Like, the main character is interesting enough. He's not the most complex character. Again, it's one of those games where how he behaves and who he is really dependent on your own choices as the player. But there's enough of a template that you can work off, and you can make him your own. Like, I kind of figure out how I want to play my character, and I think it's, when the game wants to get dramatic, it is effective. It's not the greatest scenes I've ever seen in an adventure game. Like, as far as adventure games goes, Telltale is still like the crowning master of adventure games, and so far, I have yet to play any adventure game in this format. Let me make that clear. In this format. Like, in that other games are clearly trying to mimic, like this, and like Life is Strange are clearly copying the Telltale format. But Telltale's still the best at it. But this is close. Like, I would say this is better than Life is Strange. I mean, Life is Strange has its own thing going for it, and it has its own strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like overall I enjoyed this one better, because I feel like it offered me more gameplay-wise, and it offered me more story-wise. So yeah, like I said, I really liked it. If I had to give it a score, I mean, it's not good enough to give it like a 9, although part of me kind of wants to. But I had a really good time with it, so I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. And yeah, you should absolutely check it out. And I am definitely gonna keep my eye on this, especially as the episodes go forward, and see where they're gonna go with it, because this has a lot of potential. And I really want to have more mystery to it. So. Yeah, other than that, I think it's all we got for this episode. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Mike's Indie Corner. Remember, if you want to make a request for a game to review on this show, make sure to go onto our Patreon at patreon.com/MichaelTheComicNerd and become a $5 patron. That way you can make any request you want as many times as you want, and I will review it. Thank you all for watching, guys, and see you all next time.